to put week 2 and week 3 together for this update because I basically feel like I've been in hibernation, so I haven't really had a chance to film, unfortunately. I know I had plans to up my filming after the babies came, but that might just be slightly delayed. I wanted to give you guys an update of how the last couple of weeks have gone. So I think in my last update I let you guys know that both of the twins were diagnosed with jaundice. All seems to be fine now. We have had a visit from the health visitor and the midwife has come a couple more times. At this point they are weighing more than their birth weight, which I'm really proud of actually. Everybody seems to be pretty impressed with their progress because I am exclusively breastfeeding. I am pumping so that I can have some help with feeding them sometimes, but it is with breast milk. We did have a short period in week 1 and the beginning of week 2 where we were giving them formula. I had bought a few bottles of formula to go into hospital with because I wasn't sure how my breastfeeding would go, so I just wanted to have it there just in case. And so since we have it, I just figured that we'd make use of it. And I keep being told that formula is a bit heavier than breast milk. I think it looks a bit more substantial, so we thought we'd give them some before bed just to help them go to sleep. But that didn't really work out for us because both of them seemed to have colic, so it kind of exasperated that. We had quite a few screaming sessions after giving them the formula. They do still seem to have colic. They seem to be unsettled. After I feed them, they do seem to have like bubbles in their belly. I can feel it sometimes. So that has meant that the period after feeding them can be a bit unsettled because we're trying to get them to burp or fart to get the wind out. We did ask the midwife about what we could do to help with that, and I think I'm going to try and eliminate some things from my diet. So I've been thinking about it and I haven't really been eating anything spicy. And on another note, my appetite is completely like, it's rubbish. I don't really feel like eating much, but that hasn't affected my milk supply. But I do eat dairy and coffee. I have like 1 coffee a day, so I'm thinking of eliminating milk first and then trying to eliminate coffee and see if that might help. The midwife said that that might help. There's also something called Infocol that my aunt mentioned and then the midwife mentioned, so we've picked some of that up too. And we do have like a vegan alternative. So my son is a veggie and I think I'm going to do the same with the boys as well. I think I'll probably try the Infocol first since it comes recommended, and then we'll see how the vegan one goes if that doesn't work. I'm hoping that their stomachs do eventually settle because it is really difficult to watch them be in pain, especially twin A. He gets really red when he needs to burp. So feeding has been going fine. As I said, they've put on more than their birth weight. I don't have any sores on my boobs or anything like that. It's kind of going the same as it did with my last pregnancy, so I haven't had any problems at all. I do tandem feed them sometimes, but most of the time I do feed them one by one, and especially with their colic now, I'll feed one and then hand them over to somebody to burp them, and then take the other one and feed them, and then hand them over, and kind of like swap them out like that. And that's kind of been working for me. If they are both hungry at the same time though, I will feed them at the same time. Sleep is, as if any of you guys have had babies before, you know sleep in newborn stage is like non-existent. So sleep's been pretty non-existent. They are feeding every couple of hours, and that is 24 hours a day, of course. So we have been trying out different sleeping techniques. At the moment, what I'm finding most effective is staying in a separate room to my husband and having a baby each. I'm finding that to be most effective at the moment, especially being really tired. When you're tired, it is really easy to kind of not pay attention, but you're just a bit more sluggish. You know, you don't really pay attention as much. So there have been a few occasions where they've been crying and I've just been thinking, what is wrong? And then realizing like a few minutes later that they're wet or they need their nappy changed or something like that. So it just helps, I think, to focus on one baby each at the moment. What has also been working well is just going to bed. So we tried the whole taking shifts thing. Like one person goes to bed for a few hours and then swaps with the other person who goes to bed. There are some positives with that because I am able to sleep better when the twins are not in the room with me. Because when they're in the room with me, I'm just thinking about whether they're breathing or not. So it is really hard for me to get into a deep sleep because I'm constantly waking up, looking at them, poking them, you know, putting my hand over their face just to see if I can feel their breathing and all of that kind of stuff. Whereas if they're not in the room with me and they're with somebody I trust, I'm able to sleep better. But at the moment, what we're going with is just going to bed. So it gets to about 9 o'clock. I put my toddler to sleep and then kind of wind down. So like start turning the TV off and getting a bit quieter, turning the lights off and things like that. So we've been doing that because I really want them to know the difference between day and night. And I found that making sure that the atmosphere feels nighttimey really helps, especially in the long run. In the beginning, I did have a few issues with breastfeeding in the dark because I can't see my nipple and I can't see their face. So we have found a way to have a dim light on so that I'm able to breastfeed effectively and see everything. It has been working in that they haven't been waking up and looking around. After week 1, they definitely began to be more alert. So in week 1 and maybe up until halfway into week 2, they were sleeping all the time, and they still are, but there are periods in the day where they just wake up and look around, which is really sweet because we get to kind of talk to them and have a conversation with them and, you know, entertain ourselves. But I did notice in the beginning they were doing that at night as well. So when I would change shifts and be up with them and maybe have the TV on, it wasn't super loud or anything like that. I would have maybe 1 or 2 of them kind of just lounging and looking around the room. And I thought, yeah, I don't want that. I really don't want that, especially not as they get older. So I found now with keeping everything dark and no sound, that as soon as I breastfeed them, they just go back to sleep, which is really, really helpful. So I'm kind of just breastfeeding, passing over to my husband, he's burping, and then they are back to sleep. So we don't have to deal too much with them stirring or having to get them back to sleep unless they need to burp. But once they've burped, they go straight back to sleep. So that's been really helpful. I am still napping during the day, so most nights I'm probably able to get maybe collectively about 4 hours of sleep, 4, maybe 5 if I'm lucky, which normally is okay to kind of get me until about 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and then at that point I really start to struggle. So I have been sleeping for a few hours. It does make me feel better, but I can't say that I really enjoy it because it kind of ruins my day. It's kind of just like being pregnant in the sense that when I was pregnant I was sleeping all of the time, and it kind of just feels like the days are just going and I'm just sleeping through them. So that is not the best thing, but I have found that lack of sleep has been making me really moody. Like I'm miserable. And I must be awful to be around because when I'm really tired, I just feel really uptight and I just want to sleep, and everything feels worse, and it's really easy to catastrophize things when you're tired. So I've definitely been prioritizing sleeping if I can, because it just generally makes my outlook on things much better, and I think that's probably better for my mental health than kind of trying to push through it. My cesarean, God bless the surgeon, because in the first couple of weeks you couldn't even see my cesarean scar. So at the moment you can kind of see it, but it is really light, and I'm pretty impressed. I can't show you guys because it is pretty low down, but I am really happy with it actually. I thought it was going to be more obvious. So the midwife came and she did ask to check it. I was having particularly bad pain on my left side, but that seems to have gone now and I'm not experiencing any cesarean pain. I do have a bit of discomfort around the lower part of my stomach, but no pain. I'm not taking any medication. I stopped taking pain medication after about a week and a half. I do take my iron tablets, and I've picked up some multivitamins for after pregnancy for breastfeeding that I'm taking. Weight loss, the last time I checked, I have lost about almost 30 pounds since just after giving birth, because I didn't remember to weigh myself before I left for the hospital when I was pregnant. So I did weigh myself straight after, I think about 2 or 3 days after, and since then I've lost about 30 pounds, which I'm quite happy with. I haven't been able to meal prep, which is what my original plan was. My freezer is still full. I need to kind of defrost it so that I can put stuff in there. So I haven't been doing that, but I have just been eating when I can and snacking. I'm a snacker. I love a good snack. So I don't really mind it myself. I haven't been feeling particularly like starved or, you know, super hungry or anything like that. If I'm hungry, I'll eat something. But I am trying to focus on having as much protein as I can and drinking lots of water, because I have been finding that I am dehydrated a lot. So I've just been drinking, and I'm still obsessed with my ice poles. I've got a box of those. I probably have about 4 a day of those. So as long as I've got that and some sleep, I'm super happy. So I remember seeing a comment about managing with a toddler. So when we came home, we were really concerned that my son would have trouble adjusting, because he has been the only child for a few years now, and he is spoiled. We do give him lots of attention. He's a really good boy, so we give him lots of attention. And we have been actually quite surprised by how well he's adjusted. So he does love his brothers. He does come and give them a kiss and a hug every morning and at night, and he has been asking for them when he's not in the house. First few times he had to go to nursery, he was a bit tearful. I think he kind of felt like he was missing out a bit, but now he seems to be happy to have them around. We have noticed that he has been slightly more defiant. He's usually so well mannered, but we have noticed that he has been saying no more which of course can't continue forever. So we have kind of just been putting our foot down with that. Because I've been so tired, I don't think I've been giving him as much attention as I usually do. So I'm hoping once this newborn phase goes that I am able to give him a bit more attention. I do also plan on taking him out a couple of times this summer. I think that there's a few shows that I can take him to, so I do plan on doing that as well. But overall, I think he's doing really well. In terms of like looking after him and stuff, along with the twins, he does go to childcare in the week, so he's not in the house during the week. We can definitely tell when he's not here, because he is quite playful and he does throw himself off of everything and, you know, run about the house and stuff like that. So it is more quiet when he's not here. So the only times that we really have to deal with all three of them at once is in the evenings and on the weekends. And to be honest with you, it's been pretty fine. In the evenings we have a routine, so it's actually been pretty okay. I don't know if there's worse to come or anything like that, but at the moment pretty fine. And it's actually nice having him around, and seeing him interact with them is really, really sweet. As you guys can see, my Bell's palsy seems to have resolved itself, so we thank God, and I'm very grateful that things have been okay. I did try to not stress. From the looks of it, you guys can let me know what you think, but from the looks of it, I seem to be back to how I was pre-Bell's palsy. I can't start to work out and things like that. I'm anxiously waiting for the time I'm allowed to get into the gym. So the health visitor said I can't go to the gym until I'm 8 weeks, but the midwife said 6 to 8 weeks. So I think I'm going to try and get in there around 6 weeks. I'm definitely going to try and start walking. Of course, it's difficult with the tiredness, because my options are always like walk or sleep, and I've been picking sleep because I'm trying to keep my sanity. But I'm gonna definitely try and find a way to integrate walking into my day. My stomach, I'm not 100% sure what I was expecting. I did look at some postpartum videos and pictures of women who had twins, and all of their bellies seem to be like different to each other. So I wasn't sure what to expect, but I'm actually quite, dare I say, happy with my stomach. Of course, it doesn't look like what it did before I got pregnant, but I do have plans to strengthen my core back up and have some skin treatments if I need to. And I think after that, I think I'll be happy as pie with my stomach. I do have a few like self-care things that I need to get to, like I've lost a nail and I haven't been to get my eyebrows waxed or anything like that. I haven't really been out of the house. I've been in discomfort and I've been tired, so like the motivation to leave the house hasn't really been there, but I feel that coming back a bit now. I do have a few occasions to get to over the next few weeks, and we hopefully will be getting a couple of days away from the babies in a few weeks, so I'm looking forward to that. But overall, I'm in good spirits. I feel like we're coping well. I'm happy they're here and I'm happy not to be pregnant. I don't know how to stress that enough. If you guys have any questions, do feel free to leave it down in the comments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye. you.